One of the easiest lunches or dinners to make is some sort of a bowl. And also one of my favorite recipes on Nourish Nutrition blog is also a bowl. So put two and two together, that's what we're gonna be making today. And instead of following the recipe exactly, I'm going to just be making the adaptations that I need to use what I have so I don't have to go to the store, especially because it's snowing, raining, gross out there. The original recipe is in the description below, and I'll use that as my base and then go from there. Instead of following that recipe exactly, I'm actually going to make a lot of adaptations to use ingredients and food that I already have. So again, it's loosely based off of that Mediterranean bowl, and it's going to be very different, but also really delicious. The biggest connections here and the things that I'm making sure to include are some sort of grain and vegetable and a really good flavorful dressing. I want to show just how easy it is to add a lot of flavor to dishes without having to go to the store and get items to add that flavor. A dressing is a really simple way to add a lot of flavor, and it works really well. But before we get into the recipe, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Rebecca. I'm the Cooking for One and non-diet dietitian, and I'm here to help you make Cooking for One easy and enjoyable and something to look forward to. So the first step here, and this is a way for you to bring what I'm talking about into your own kitchen. So the first step today is to kind of look around your kitchen and see what you have. I did that first and then decided to make this based off of the ingredients that I had, and I'll kind of show you what that looks like. So I've got my pile over here because you don't need to see me open everything. But I originally looked in my pantry and saw a big container of bulgur and also of, of barley, and also chickpeas. You can use the dry ones or canned, both are great. And I cooked them up in my Instant Pot. I made pretty big batches and I will show you this. Got bags in the freezer. So then I can cook those up easily later and don't have to hurry and eat all of it. Maybe eat this 12 times in a row. I don't want to do that. I want it to last and be enjoyable later. So batch cooking is awesome. Since that was the base of what I planned on making, again, recognizing I have those grains and I made a bunch of them, I also went and scoured my fridge for vegetables. Since this is kind of a grain bowl type of a salad, I'd like to have something with it, and I have my bags, and I have cabbage in one, and then I have some cucumber and carrot in another, so I'll just use what I've got. It's not exactly what was in the original recipe, not as fun or exciting, but it's gonna work just fine. I also have all of the ingredients for the salad dressing. So all of those come together to make this bowl. Since I'm majorly missing out on the feta and all of those additional vegetables, I'm gonna add some nuts or seeds or something to it as well to add some crunch and a little bit of saltiness. So let's get started. So I'm gonna start by making my dressing, and I've got my recipe right here because it's a few more ingredients than I can keep in my mind. So I'm adding I like to start with the most clean, ingredients so I can reuse my measuring spoons. So I'm adding some salt, and then I'm going to use the same measuring spoon, a 1/4 teaspoon, to add some Dijon. I'll use that to stir it all up because I know that won't come out easily. I'm going to add in, next clean ingredient is, as in it's not going to leave much of a mess in here, some Italian seasonings. I recently made this with herbes de Provence, and that was really good, but I decided to choose Italian seasoning so I can use pepperoni juice. And again, like I mentioned, this is the same measuring spoon as I used. It's a teaspoon for the Italian seasonings, and then I used it for the pepperoni juice after. And then I just have olive oil and red wine vinegar to add. And there's no need for a particular order here. So I'm just gonna add, it is 3 tablespoons of olive oil and then 2 of the red wine vinegar. So 2 tablespoons here. Okay, so this is preheated. I'm going to be adding my chickpeas. These are garbanzos. That's really not very many. I want more. Okay, sidebar, let me heat some up and then dry them off and I'll be back. Okay, I've heated up some more. I'd like to add some cooking spray, but you can also do olive oil. I kind of like the spray because it just is so easy. And especially with the thing chirping at me. Okay, cover them. I'm gonna cook them at 395 for about 10 minutes and we'll get back. Okay, now that that is in, back to my dressing. I'm just gonna, okay, the Dijon is all in there. Now to make it super easy, I'm just adding the lid, closing it tight, tightening it close, closing it tight. I'm just gonna shake it a lot to break up that Dijon. And then I'll just set it aside until I'm ready to assemble. While the chickpeas are cooking, I'm gonna chop up some vegetables. So I'm gonna start with cucumber and carrot. The cucumber is just like a regular one. I don't really like the skin. And then the carrot, and then the cabbage. And you can use kind of whatever you've got. So I've just got some barley in a bowl, or I've got it frozen too, so I could use that as well. I'm just gonna heat it up in the microwave quickly. Okay, so a couple of notes while my chickpeas are cooking in the air fryer. First of all, I didn't explain because I was rushing so much about the chickpeas in the air fryer. You can use a skillet with some oil, you can roast them in the oven. There's many ways to cook them. If you've got an air fryer, you can use that as well. It's just so easy. And I think whatever's like the easiest is great. And roasting them or getting them crispy is such a great way to add texture to a salad that is not the most exciting other than the dressing. And then another thing that I wanted to mention is this recipe originally has chicken in it as well, which is so good, especially when you cook it, kind of marinate it in the dressing. But while I do have some in the freezer, it's frozen, it's really frozen. I don't want to put the time or the effort into defrosting it and cooking it, so I'm just gonna not add it. And that is a perfectly reasonable reason to not make something exactly as it is. I would still encourage anybody to have multiple food groups in a meal, but no need to add every single thing, especially if it's going to take extra effort that you don't really want to put into it. That's completely fine. And you know, it's honestly just kind of a little encouraged, because whatever you can do to make life easier, eating easier is always a good thing. Yeah, I think always a good thing. And one more thing that I wanted to show while this is cooking. So I've got about 4 minutes left and I don't really have a whole lot to do. So one thing that I really like to do with those few minutes here is make the most out of my time in the kitchen. Go and work on something if I've got it, put some dishes away or load the dishwasher, or what I'm gonna do right now is I froze some chickpeas, but I haven't put them in a bag to freeze for later. So I'm gonna do that. You know what, this really doesn't feel like a whole lot. I would add more to it. Again, there doesn't need to be a specific order here. Now I'm adding in cabbage. You can add as much as you want. There's no specific requirements here. Whatever you've got and whatever amount you have is great. I do like having the chickpeas on the top, so I guess that is one order that might be helpful. And there's a lot of chickpeas that are stuck. There we go. I'm gonna shake up the dressing quickly and then add it. Since there's no seasonings on the grains, I'm adding maybe more than I would in a traditional salad because it needs a lot of flavor. Next, I'm gonna add in my pepperoncinis. And finally, I'm gonna top these with some sunflower seeds. Again, the feta is nice and salty and adds such a great flavor, so add some crunch and some saltiness with some sunflower seeds. So honestly, this bowl is delicious and packed with a lot of fiber and a lot of really awesome, great tasty ingredients. But I know myself, and I know, knowing what I put in here, I'm probably not going to be completely satisfied after eating this, and maybe still hungry in ways that don't exactly feel like gnawing hunger. And I will probably have something else, whether it's a snack right after, dessert, I don't know, whatever else right after. And if that feels like something that you've experienced as well, I'm here to give you permission to have something else if you're not feeling completely satisfied or full after eating, especially when it's something like this that's high in fiber. So the fiber is going to help fill you up, but it's not going to give you the energy that you need. Maybe not as much of the energy as you need. I want to remind you that a full meal isn't always enough, and that's okay. I want to also say that not feeling satisfied or still feeling hunger are signs that you need to eat, still hungry, and also could be signs that you're restricting in other ways that are going to be holding you back. So I'm not going to go into that anymore, other than just kind of throwing out this idea that if you need to eat more or want to eat more after this, go ahead and do it. Try it out, see what happens. All right, finally to it. So I've got my grains and vegetable salad. I'm so excited. I wish there was feta cheese on this, but I'm not going to the store for it. Never ceases to amaze me the power of a really flavorful, tasty salad dressing and some different textures in a salad. These chickpeas are awesome. They're crunchy and soft on the inside. Love them. Really easy, very inexpensive. Highly recommend. Again, feta would take this over the edge, but sometimes we just need to work with what we've got, and that's okay. So thanks so much for joining me. I am so excited to share this delicious bowl with you, and kind of also throw in a little reminder that if you still are feeling hungry or not satisfied after eating, you might still be hungry. So I'm curious for you, what do you think about this bowl? Are there any other ingredients that you think like, oh, I would definitely need to add that to it? Or I don't know, what would you not add to it? Ingredients that you don't really like? I'd love to hear both of those. Also want to know what your favorite bowl is. What are your favorite like throw together meals that are inexpensive and quick and easy? So thanks so much for joining. I would love any subscribes, likes, comments to grow this channel so I can start earning money off of it, because these take a lot of time. So those quick, easy things, if you find this helpful, or go ahead and share with somebody else, blah, 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 you know the spiel, you know the spiel. But anyways, thanks so much for joining me. And I think I'm going to be talking about meal planning for one next. I think that's the plan. So tune back in a couple of weeks, and I'll show you my whole method to make it easy and something to look forward to. So see you then.